Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Great Scott! There's no crying in baseball!
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
This is where the fun begins.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's right, we're ranking Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog is a 2020 action-adventure comedy film based on the Sonic video game series. In the film, a super fast alien hedgehog teams up with a small town sheriff to escape the evil Dr. Robotnik and protect the power that makes him unique. First of all, I just want to say thank you for clicking on the video. Thank you for giving me any sort of time. I'm not a big channel, and by any means, I mean, I have like literally 100 subscribers and barely anyone watches my videos. So thank you for clicking on it and giving me some time. Please watch the video, jump through, watch it 2 times, whatever you got to do. But please comment down below. A lot of the YouTubers I watch, my comments would be wasted and lost in so many comments because they have so many people. I don't. So please watch my video and give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. I would really appreciate it. I always like having some sort of interaction with people who are watching my movie reviews, and just I want to know what your thoughts are. Anyways, this is a user commented movie, so shout out JBeans for the Sonic recommendation. I did watch Sonic 3 in theaters and was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it. So this movie wasn't as much of a surprise, but it was interesting to go back and kind of see where the trilogy started and whether I might have liked it when it first came out, because I just didn't go and watch it. But let's get into why this is a pretty good movie with the 10 essential aspects of the movie. First, his plot. Does the movie follow a comprehensive story arc and is plausible within the world that has been created? It's a kid's movie, right? So there is some lower expectations as far as being entertaining for me, but I think the plot is simple and effective. It's good enough, right? It has a good flow. They explore Sonic and his unique aspects well, and not enough that it's too much or draining, because they go into more obviously throughout the other movies. It's just good enough. It's compelling and interesting enough for me to sit there and watch the entire time and not be bored. Second is attraction. Does the movie have an interesting premise with a high entertainment value? I do think that this movie leans more towards children. I don't think it's necessarily a good adult movie. Some adults may be bored, some adults may not like it. I think most kids would enjoy this movie. They do a good job of balancing the entertainment between having just some things that are fun for kids, but then having some aspects of it that an adult can find fun and good to watch as well. It's a good balance, but I do think it leans more towards children. Third is theme. What message or truth is a movie trying to convey? There is really the hardest hitting theme here is about friendship. It's about being alone and about being accepted, and they do a good job with it. I thought they actually handled it really well in the beginning, just showing how kind of lonely Sonic is and how much you feel for him, because I don't know, it's just kind of sad that he has created this entire world but no one really knows that he exists in it. So you're, pulling for him, and you're compelled for the characters when they meet each other and spend time with each other and kind of develop a relationship. It's a nice little heartwarming story. Fourth is dialogue. Is there a real feel to the conversations? It's what you expect, right? Real enough for what a kid's movie is supposed to be. In all honesty, I think Sonic is actually pretty annoying. I don't like his character that much. Is it the worst thing in the world? No. And it's so clear, he's so clearly the kid character. What really makes up for it is the fact that you have these conversations between the main character and Jim Carrey. And I am a sucker for Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey, but that part I think is more interesting, in the comedy in Jim Carrey's sections. I think kind of carries the comedy of the movie for an adult. Sonic can carry the comedy for the kids, but I didn't find Sonic very funny. I just found him kind of annoying, but it was an expected thing. It wasn't annoying because I was mad. It was like, yeah, that character is obviously setting up the jokes for the kids, and Jim Carrey's character is the one that sets all the jokes for the adults. Fifth is acting. Are the characters convincing? The first person I'll talk about is James Marsden as Tom. I think he does a really good job. He's very likable. He's good with comedy. I've seen him in other movies, and I think he's a good actor when it comes to just being funny and line delivery and just knowing and having the presence to be in a comedic role. And I'll say he does a really good job with the CGI aspect of this movie. I mean, his main partner in this movie isn't real, and I can't imagine how hard that is to deal with, and you don't really have a back and forth that's natural, but he does a really good job. There's never a point where you feel like he's not talking to a real character. It stays smooth and seamless, and I think a lot of that is because of his acting, so I give him a lot of credit for being able to act next to like a CGI character for most of this movie. Now, I also want to talk about Jim Carrey, of course, as Dr. Eggman. I love Jim Carrey, and I think he brings just so much energy and comedy to this movie. I mean, in all honesty, the only reason I would come back to this movie is because of him. He plays his character well. I think it's really fun to see him in an evil character rather than the main character who's good. He just does a good job with it. It's the reason I enjoy the film. He has great energy. He always has great delivery. If you like Jim Carrey, this is exactly him doing Jim Carrey things. But because we have been kind of starved of natural Jim Carrey for so long, it's nice to see him in that role. 6 is cinematography. Is there a creative use of lighting, setting, and wardrobe to convey emotion? I do remember when this movie came out, there was a big to-do about them redesigning Sonic. Shout out to that team because that was a great decision. He definitely looks way better than their first iteration. I just remember that being a big deal, and I don't think that really occurs often in the film industry because it costs so much money, but I bet they're glad they made that decision because I don't think this would be a trilogy without them doing that. That being said, Sonic doesn't look great at all moments, but it's good enough, right? I mean, it's a kid's movie. He's convincing enough. At some moments he looks great, but then there's other moments it really doesn't look that good. But I do really like the creativity they used to show how fast he is, right? And though it's already been done before, the idea of he's moving so fast that everything else is in slow motion, it's really fun, and with the action in this movie, it just makes sense with this character, and it's really fun to see him do that. He's so silly. He's so, obviously someone that has been stunted by growth. Like he's grown up alone and hasn't had anybody. So the way he deals with things is very fun and kind of silly. The way he's dealing with fights and like having fun being so fast, but nobody knows he's moving that fast. It's just really creative and fun and unique and helps give the whole movie an identity different than other movies. Emotion-wise, there's a decent amount of emotion. Like I said, when he's alone, it is kind of sad. I mean, they do a good job of making you feel for him, being like, wow, this, he's all alone and he doesn't have anybody to talk to, and he's been that way for a long time. So you feel for him. Towards the end, you get more emotional parts, but really it's the same old kind of emotional parts of a kid's movie at the end. It's not really doing anything for me as an adult, but I'm glad it's there. It's good for children. 7th is editing. This is all about the pace of the movie. The movie is 1 hour and 39 minutes long. I thought it was a good pace. It wraps up what it needs to. I think a movie that's purely going for entertainment shouldn't really be over 1 hour, 45, 50 minutes. I just think that's too long. 1 hour 30 to 40 is perfect to me for a movie that's entertaining. So they hit that mark, and I just think it's always a good number for a movie that's going to be for kids or just supposed to be somewhat entertaining. Ninth is directing. Now, I feel the directors in charge of the previous 8 aspects. They're the ones that have to put it all together, give it their stamp of approval, and make a really good movie. Now, the director of this movie is Jeff Fowler, and at this point, this was the first movie that he had ever directed, but of course would go on to make other Sonics. I have seen Sonic 3, and now I've seen this Sonic, and I don't really like to make conclusive decisions about a director until I've seen 3 of their movies. But at this point, it's really positive. I think he's really a good director. He's good at just knowing what needs to be done. Is he is he making the best movies ever? Are they the best kids movies ever? No, but he's making good movies, which I think is actually kind of hard these days. And based on 1 and 3, he knows how to elevate the movies as they go along rather than just kind of repeating on the same success. He adds to it and adds some depth and levels to it that make the movies feel different and unique and interesting. He seems like a good director that's on a good trajectory. I look forward to seeing what else he comes out with. 10th is Time. Will it stand the test of time? Yeah, I think it will be kind of forgotten in some sense. I mean, as they make more movies and it becomes a bigger series, it will be remembered a little longer, maybe a little better, and especially because it's the first movie. I think it will always be kind of entertaining, right? Like, it's just a solid movie that does a lot of fundamental things well, so it will be entertaining for a long time, but it is comedic and some of the comedy is timely, so I think as time goes on it'll probably get a little bit worse, but I think overall it'll still remain a good movie. Now for the review section. Rotten Tomatoes critics gives it a 64, the audience gives it a 93, and IMDb gives it a 65. Honestly, really surprised with the 64 and 65. I just feel like that's actually very low for a pretty decent movie. I would probably give this movie, I don't know, maybe a high C, probably for me, maybe a low B. I don't know, I just enjoy it. It's just a decent movie that does what it's supposed to do well, and then it just has the added Jim Carrey aspect that I really love that will make me come back to it. But in all honesty, it's just a decent movie, so I'd probably put it, somewhere in the C range, high C range. Finally, for the rankings. For the year of 2020, it is the second movie I reviewed, so on the entertainment side, it is going to be first above Birds of Prey. I think this movie is just generally more liked than Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey has some problems. It's not that good of a movie, but there's some things to it that I think are good and fun, but it's just not as appealing overall to a general audience as Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be, because it is kind of just a kids movie that's done well, where Birds of Prey is kind of being like, it's not a kids movie, it's not appropriate for kids, but then as an adult movie, it's very divisive because it doesn't do things all that well. So I think kind of easily Sonic is better than Birds of Prey. Cinematically, out of two movies, is going to be first above Birds of Prey. Again, Birds of Prey actually does take some cool leaps cinematically. I think it's very bright and fun and has a cool energy about it, like a unique energy, but it just kind of sucks on the plot element. The story isn't that great, and like the ending really isn't very good, and this whole like hurrah team of women isn't very compelling or interesting because none of the characters are fleshed out that much, and so therefore you're not really that interested. It just has more problems plot-wise than Sonic, which is just kind of like, a movie that was made to be entertaining, does it well, has a little bit of a lesson in there, nothing crazy. It's not gonna top the charts cinematically, but it just does its job well. For the decade of the 2020s, out of 68 total movies on the entertainment side, it is going to be 6th, below Civil War and above Hard Eyes. It rates really high because it's rewatchable. It's a good movie. I think it appeals to a lot of audiences. You don't have to be selective about who may or may not like this movie. I think a lot of people will just enjoy this movie and be able to rewatch it several times. I have it below Civil War. It's at that point where they're in different tiers. So it just won't be able to go above it until, maybe 90. When I hit 90 movies, maybe the tiers will be a little more focused and things will switch around a little bit. But Civil War is a really good movie as well. I think that one actually is a little more cinematic, but I think general audience-wise, people will probably hold on to that one and it'll be a little more captivating than Sonic. But overall, I think on the tier adjustment, when it gets kind of reset at 90, I think those ones will probably be in different places. I do have it above Hard Eyes. Hard Eyes is a good movie, but it's more focused for adults and is a finer audience. It is a comedy, so that's going to be selective, and then it's horror comedy, which is even more selective. But I think it's a good movie, and if you people happen to give it a chance to watch, I think you'll find that you enjoy it more than maybe you thought. It just has really good writing in it. It's a funny story. The way they go about it is fun. The horror elements are fun. It's just a good watch, but I just think that Sonic is a little more appealing because it doesn't hold itself down by being that horror element. Cinematically, out of 68 total movies, it is going to be 23rd, just below Transformers 1 and above Red 1. I have it below Transformers 1. I think that one just does more with its premise. There's more world building. It's more interesting. It takes place in like a very different place with very different, very different things going on, characters going on. I just think there's so much more to that world that it brings more to cinematography as an art form. Even though it isn't necessary, Transformers does dive into some serious topics, which I can enjoy and brings it value. It's not super serious, but I do think it does a better job than Sonic. I have it above Red 1. Red 1, I don't think, again, it's not as appealing. I think it's kind of split on people. I think a lot of people didn't like this movie, but I do think it's a good Christmas movie that brings some fun ideas. It stands on its own by having some unique kind of technology and stuff brought to, the idea of Christmas. But I don't think it handles any of the emotional aspect that well. Though it's creative and fun like Sonic, I don't think it touches on kind of like these meaningful moments as well as Sonic does. I just think Sonic is a little bit better of a package overall, but they're fairly close in some senses. All time, out of 84 total movies on the entertainment side, it is going to be 12th, just below The Whole Nine Yards and above Hard Eyes. I have it below The Whole Nine Yards. I just like the comedy of that movie more. It's more rewatchable for me. That's one for, I think you don't need a specific kind of adult to watch. Like, it's an adult comedy that just does a lot of physical humor and has a lot of good setup and a lot of good dialogue comedy that's written well. That's a personal preference of mine. I think that movie does work well with general audiences. I think people will like it just as much as Sonic, but I do feel it's funnier, especially because it's not necessarily appealing to children. It's above Hard Eyes for the exact same reasons as before. Now, cinematically, out of 84 total movies out of 84 total movies, it is going to be 32nd, just below Transformers 1 and above Red 1. It's there for the exact same reasons as before. Good movie. I liked it. I'd probably watch it again. A lot of that has to do with Jim Carrey, but hey, that was a good decision by them to cast him in that role at that time. I mean, he just does a good job bringing the energy and making me laugh. Sonic's a good character. He's good enough to like, though sometimes I do find him annoying. It's obvious that he's made for children, so I'm glad they just kind of leaned into that rather than him being kind of in the middle. It's like you get this part that I know kids will like and this other aspect of the movie that I know adults will enjoy as well. Please comment down below. Let me know a movie that you want me to watch. I'm kind of going through and watching all of the commented movies that have been suggested, trying to get on a roll and get that rolling and get some, diversity into my list, because a lot of my list is just movies from the 2020s. So I want to get some older movies in there. So please comment a movie and I will watch it. Otherwise, I'm Mr. Majoritarian. Stay classy, San Diego.